1411, good luck. Wow, nearly, what, 2300 nearly for my opponent in rapid. That's what you should do when you're learning and you're trying to improve at chess, is play the slow time controls. Now, I do play a lot of bullet chess, so I've got to try and slow down and play at the right speed, or it's easy to go wrong. Now, in these lines, white wants to play e6, so if you rush and allow this, you can allow e6, so I'm just going to go to f5, and if necessary, I can drop back, but I want to play e6 myself and stop white from doing it. That's one of the easy things to blunder in the Caro. You just play moves automatically and you allow white to play. Now, I'm going to play c5 because you can see white trying to expand very rapidly, potentially with b4 and c4 ideas. So I'm just going to challenge this pawn structure and then just try and develop in castle. It's all I'm going to look to do. Knight up, had to block the check. There is a check threat, but he can obviously simply block here and protect the bishop. I don't want to take right now and allow knight across to attack the knight and the bishop at the same time though. So maybe knight across or bishop up, or even... Now I can maybe go here and trade these off. What do I do? Okay. I could do this and... You know, my opponent should see knight up, of course. I'm just going to develop the knight for now. Just temporarily sack a pawn if necessary, just try and get development. But it might be worth going here now to potentially pin and trade. Okay, that again invites this, but it just allows white that development move. I'm actually going to go here and hit the bishop, but make it kind of obvious. White could still potentially play knight forward, I guess, but we can then hit the bishop. We can potentially take now. My knight guards my bishop. I can always drop back and my knight's guarded here. Again, click anywhere on the screen and it clears the markings. Okay, so he has pushed forward. Okay. So I could do this and hit the bishop, but I don't think I should. I'm just going to attack the bishop here and say, are you going to trade or are you going to drop back? You take, I've got the option to bring my knight up and then release this bishop, even if I just go where the knight is now. Again, it is rapid, so there's no need to pre-move, but I could kind of pre-move taking back there. Okay, it does take, so we're going to take with the knight, put pressure on the pawn, put pressure on this pawn. Oh, he's moved a bit quick there, so he might have missed that I was attacking this pawn. And then in turn I'll attack this one. So what does he do? I'm just trying to make sure I'm not getting my queen trapped, but I'm going to grab a pawn, hit the rook. Now I can take this one, or I could even take with the bishop and then force a queen trade. That should be very good, seeing as we've gained 2 pawns out of it. We might even gain a third. So here, I guess you can come here, but it's... the rook's going to fall. So I'm going to take with a bishop and try and force a queen trade, and then maybe bishop takes, maybe pawn takes, but we should be doing very well here. Okay, so we're going to take, probably take here and allow black to take this pawn. Okay, there is a slight weakness here. If I take here first, if knight takes, I take, then bishop takes, then I can take. Actually, so taking the pawn is probably the right move. It's probably right to take, actually, isn't it? Then if you take my bishop, I take your bishop. You'll take my pawn, but your structure's messed up. I guess it's kind of creating counterplay. So yeah, I'm just going to take the pawn and develop in castle. So we'll give this one back and try and keep this one. Okay, takes. I'm just going to develop. Trust that my bishop's not getting trapped. Rook across, I'll go here. Maybe even back here. I can use the bishop as a blockader in the short term. Once I've castled, I'll try and do something about this and press on. So he has gone there. Now if I drop back here, you can't actually castle. At least not right now. Okay, just click to clear the markings. Knight to d4, I think I'll just simply trade the knight. But we are 2 pawns up here, so no need to do anything silly. Just try and castle, get the king safe, develop the rooks. Knight comes across. I don't see where the knight's really going. Maybe you're just coming in over here. And if knight takes, the knight can take. Maybe we can drop back, but it must be right to castle, I assume. So I'm just going to do it. I mean, I could move, but this is going to get loose then. So I'll most likely just trade. And then bishop back. If the other knight takes, pawn takes, that's what he's gone for. Now, can I grab this pawn here I'm looking at? Gain a pawn. Lose a bishop, gain a bishop. Knight down across. I can probably do that, but it's complicating matters. I think takes, takes, bishop back. Knight takes, pawn takes. The rook can maybe come forward. I've just got to be a little bit careful. It might actually be a perfectly good move to take. Bishop up might be a move. I guess that lets you in. So if we take here, is there any trick? You might be able to just take the knight and then get out of the way with a check. Yeah, I don't allow any of that. I'm just going to take. So I have to decide now if I'm going to drop back and trade another piece. And I think I should. So I'm just going to drop back. Then I'm going to try and, in principle, run this pawn down the board. Just got to be careful not to get my bishop lost. So we still got to pay attention here. Even though we're up material right now, doesn't mean we'll stay up material. And how much pieces does white dare trade off being down material? Yeah, chooses to go back, probably sensible. Now I could push this pawn immediately. I can do a rook across with a view to getting out of the way and attacking this pawn. That looks good to me, because I'm threatening here after your castle. The rook will come over. And then maybe we can just step in front and threaten to capture. That is good. So I'm going to do that with a view to going here after the rook comes across. Then we'll have 2 pieces attacking the pawn, just 1 defending. Okay, just click anywhere to clear the markings. That's what he's done. So do I do it? I could drop back, I guess, and just go slowly, steadily, does it? If I go here, I'm letting this in, aren't I? I'm going to play a holding move first, and maybe sack a pawn back. Get rid of this bishop this way. Give up the outside pawn. Give my king a square, and then try and target this. Might be sensible. So do we go here, give a pawn back? Idea to be then simply double the rooks up. Maybe I can push this pawn actually and hope you take and get active. So here, takes, takes, knight takes. Maybe the simple rook up. What's wrong with just rook up first, actually? Guard this pawn, threaten to bring the rook across. I've still got this move in hand. We might have 3 attack and 2 defend. Knight moves back, then bishop up is playable straight away. Although I've still got the option of rook across. And I've got a bit of time on the clock here, up a minute, so I've got some time. Actually, if the knight moves away and I play here, you maybe just encourages f4, so that might not be a good move. Might actually be better to go here while the knight's there and give up the outer pawn, and then try and just pile pressure on the pawn this way. But easy to miscalculate or miss something, so just worry about it when it's our turn. Of course, now that I've played rook e to guard the pawn, bishop up is actually a threat now. So bishop up looks like a good move now. And I don't see any reason not to play it now, so I'm going to. So now 2 attack the pawn and nothing defends it. Knight goes back, we can simply trade. Or we can ignore it and just play rook across. As long as we can just trade off evenly, we're going to stay 2 pawns up. It should be winning in the long run. Right, the knight's gone back. So I don't see why we can't just collect this pawn now. This one might fall at the end. So let's just double up first. Actually, this one might actually fall. Takes, 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 rook in, but it's still an even trade. It should still be good. But now I've doubled up, I've got the option to move the bishop away and pressure the rook and the knight at the same time. Move the king. So I think it's about time to do this now. I don't see anything better, so I'm going to do it now. Go ahead and simplify, trade some material, and then try and work on this pawn if we can. Maybe try and force another piece off first. Bishop up. One of the rooks is going to come off at least. Rook across, I just take the knight, double the pawns up, and then try and defend, or even just sack the pawn. But let's not do anything silly though. Is pawn up first a move? Maybe. But it feels like bishop up is a good move, so I'm going to play it. It might be wrong. But even if I lose my outer pawn, I've still got a protected passed pawn here. So I'll pre-move in case he takes a rook, which he's done. Now my bishop can drop back and still guard here. That was why I gave my king an emergency square earlier. Attack the bishop. So I assume I can just simply drop back. Knight can't take. Let's just drop back. Even if I move the rook out of the way, knight takes, takes, takes. I've got a protected passed pawn. Should be a winning endgame. But I don't want to go and blunder this pawn. I want to make sure I can try and guard this in some way or other. Not sure how yet. Let's just see. Yeah, rook up. So king up is a very logical and just about only move here, I think. Maybe I could drop the bishop back, but that feels wrong. Rook up to hit the knight. Takes, takes, takes. I don't want to allow any of that. I'm not in time to push the pawn. So I'm going to play king up, and I might have to play h5 if the pawns come forward. But rook up and encourage knight takes, takes, rook takes, maybe rook across. And that should be winning. Obviously depends what my opponent does here. Yeah, it does indeed do that. So this is where I thought I would push the pawn as well. So I don't want my king getting deflected away from this defense. So hold on, have I got rook up here? No, you can still check. But if I take, your knight's under attack. So rook up here, knight takes. No, I don't want to calculate it too much. Rook up is a threat now. I'm quite happy to trade the knight for these two. Idea to bring rook across. You might have to play a pawn forward now or something. Let's just see. Yeah, he's done that. So maybe actually bishop here with a view to coming over. Could be sensible. I see no reason not to do that. The bishop can drop back. I can start even potentially running this pawn, but once I move the pawn, the bishop can't come back here. So he's played knight across, but I don't see any threat from the knight. Maybe here. Actually, maybe there might be a good move to go here. So can I allow him to take? Just run the pawn. Actually, can I stop him from doing that? Here, knight down, rook up. and we're putting pressure on our opponent's king. If you take, we take with check, the king comes forward. It's just getting a little bit awkward, isn't it? But knight down now. Maybe I have to play pawn up. I don't particularly want to, but I think it's the best idea because I can drop the bishop here to guard this one, and we stop the knight infiltrating. At least for now anyway. Obviously knight back, and this is going to be weak, so he's gone for that. So I'm going to drop the bishop back and try and guard this. Knight here, still a threat. Maybe I just take the pawn. That's what he's done. So now maybe I've got the rook up to try and force things. If knight takes, we can take here. Everything should be good. So I'm assuming rook up is what I want to play. If you take here, I can simply take. If you take here, take, rook takes, take the pawn. If you take, I'm still covered. I think rook up looks like a good move to me. Doesn't mean it is, but it looks like one. If the knight drops back, I think I can just take. So he has gone for that. So I think we just simply take and collect here. Well done. If he takes, I could actually take with the rook. He grabs there. Okay. Now do I just push the pawn? I think king up should be good here. This should be comfortably winning. It should be. We've simplified. We've taken away a lot of risk. If you push the pawn, I can get the rook straight behind it. You might have to go after this pawn now, but then king can just take. So you've got 2 attack it and only 1 defend. So I'll just collect the pawn. Okay, he's just bailed out now. Decent effort. He just lost a couple of pawns early in the game and I've been able to play just good enough to convert it, but well done.